YouTube, we're talking college sports in the Deep South where college football is king, and on the plains of Auburn, the battle cry is War Eagle. Once again, it's Kennard Vernon Stewart for the podcast, talking a little bit about Auburn football. It's Auburn Football SportsTalk. It is week 2 of the college football season as Auburn gets ready for Tulane. I can't help but to reflect, though, on some things from the Oregon game defensively that probably need a little tuning up, okay? Let's go ahead and like this video, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And as always, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger, War Eagle. Okay, so Auburn holds Oregon's offense to 21 points, recorded 3 sacks, also had a fumble recovery, also held them to under 400 yards. I think they had like 326 somewhere along there. And that's actually pretty good considering how the fast start that Oregon got to. I thought the defensive line adjusted very well to the double team, sometimes triple team of Derrick Brown. Derrick Brown was actually noticeably frustrated. I did see, watching the game very closely, where some of the Oregon offensive linemen might have got away with a little sneak holding on Derrick Brown here and there. But I think in the first half, Oregon did a great job offensive line-wise of neutralizing Derrick Brown's effect. But what that caused is the other defensive linemen, Truesdale, some of the other guys out there, Big Cat Bryant, Nick Cole, and Marlon Davidson, it really made those guys step their game up, and it made Derrick Brown much more effective in the second half. Derrick Brown recording 2 solo tackles and had a total of 3 tackles. One thing I was very impressed with was the fact that Auburn was able to put a very significant amount of pressure on Justin Herbert, especially in the second half, recording 3 sacks. As a matter of fact, Jeremiah Denson is credited with 1 whole sack by himself, and then KJ Britt coming in with 0.5, Tyrone Truesdale 0.5, Zacoby McClain 0.5, Big Cat Bryant 0.5 sacks. Basically what that means, guys, is those were gang tackle sacks. That means you have multiple guys getting to the quarterback, which says a lot for this Auburn defense compared to some of even Kevin Steele. As good as Kevin Steele's defenses have been statistically, this is probably, from what I saw, especially against a relatively elite offensive line and some very good skill players on Oregon's part. I think Oregon is struggling a little bit, and it showed up in the second half with depth at the running back position. But this still a pretty good football team that Auburn was able to really manage that second half and get a lot of activity from a lot of guys, especially Owen Pappoe with 4 solo tackles. Jeremiah Denson, my goodness, had an excellent football game with 8 solo tackles and 1 sack. Christian Tutt comes up with a lot of big plays, tackles-wise. So I thought the defense played relatively well, especially for the first game, a game that they didn't have, a team that they didn't have film on. But moving forward, as active as these guys were, as athletic as these guys were, the clutch 4th down and inches play that they made, I was really proud to see that. KJ Britt turned out to be everything that he was billed to be. Very good downhill tackler. He lays the hat. Very physical at the point of attack, just like we thought he would be. Owen Pappoe making some of the athletic plays that we've missed from the linebacker core. I think the linebacker core, although they are brand new, definitely an upgrade to, say, Deshaun Davis, Montavious Atkinson, and Darryl Brown. Darrell Williams. I just really think that Auburn is really onto something with the athleticism of the linebacker core, and they did a great job in the second half of keeping Oregon at bay, only allowing Oregon 7 points in the second half. Huge for the Tigers. Actually helped the Tigers stay in the football game. Now, another thing that I really like about this defense is their even distribution of tackling. That means you got everybody active. Very, if you look at them on video, you can see it but it's always good to see the stats back it up. Very active. Everybody had got in the action as far as tackling goes, so that's very active defensive line. Now here's a stat line that, if I remember Wesley McGriff from back in 2016, one thing that I think will take this defense to a different level, very, very elite status level, is this defense has to find a way, outside of the physicality, outside of the soundness of tackling, these guys have to find a way to get some takeaways. Those are the types of things that break games apart. Now, I'm going to utilize our arch rival, Alabama, as an example. In their game against Duke, had 2 interceptions and 1 fumble recovery. What did that do? When they got that first fumble recovery in the Alabama game against Duke, that started to break the game away. Okay, so that's something that I really want to see. And the good thing about it is Auburn has the athletes to do so, but they just have to play a little bit more opportunistically. Now, mind you, Duke as a football team is way different than Oregon. Oregon a lot more skill than Duke, obviously. But moving forward, I want you guys to pay attention to this, because I think this is something that Auburn can really, really take advantage of down the stretch as we get into, SEC play, kind of flip some field position, gain a little bit more momentum, and really, really test different offenses with the ability to get some takeaways. I think that's something that, in order to be an elite defense, in order to be a championship type defense, you have to find ways to turn the football over. Another thing that I was very impressed with is coming from the offensive side of the football field. I thought that the offensive line would be severely challenged by this defense from Oregon, and of course they were. The noticeable challenges in the middle with Caleb Kim were apparent. Jordan Scott did a good job of kind of pushing him around a little bit, but he did stabilize some leverage in the second half, really played a much better football game than he did in the first. But, of course, there still needs to be some adjustments made there at the center position. I still think right now can be looked at as a bit of a liability. The center, obviously, especially in the Gus Malzahn type of offense, is one of the most difficult parts of the football field to play. Auburn only allowed 1 sack. I thought that was an excellent job, both by the offensive line, and to make mention, I think Bo Nix, although he is a very, very young, very, very inexperienced quarterback at the Power 5 level, he did an excellent job of adjusting the way in which he scrambled. The first half, he had a scrambling for his life type of mentality. As the game began to progress, you started to see his scrambling become a lot more educated, a lot more productive. Some of his runs were really high caliber runs when he would scramble a little bit, then step up into the pocket, or he started to get to where he would scramble and he would actually be able to see downfield to give himself an opportunity to stretch some plays out. So everything that we saw from Bo Nix as a quarterback in high school is translating over very well to the Power 5 level. Looking very much forward to this week in the Tulane game. I want to see the receivers have a little bit more separation. I want to see a little bit more going on in the intermediate portion of the football field as far as receptions being made. I thought there was too much vertical passing going on. I want to see a little bit more out of the intermediate passing game. Now, mind you, Oregon's Troy Dye and other linebackers are very athletic, so they took a lot of that away. But as we've approached the Tulane game and the Kent State game, really want to see the passing game become a little bit more active. And also, once things open up, you do see a little bit more from Sean Shivers, DJ Williams, who is recovering from injury, and Mark Anthony Richards, the freshman. He's going to be out for an extended period of time. But either way, I really, really want to see a little bit more out of the intermediate passing game as we get to the Tulane game as well. And what we should see as well is continuing to see the relationship between Gus Malzahn and Bo Nix develop. I really liked, You know, the fact that Gus Malzahn stuck by Bo Nix the whole game, helped him with development. A lot of folks try to say that he can't develop quarterbacks. I think, you know, that's absolutely absurd. But stuck with Bo Nix. They coached. Matter of fact, they probably coached each other through that particular football game, letting each other know what you saw. The next time you have to scramble, hey, here's what you need to do here. Here's what you need to do there. Keep your eyes downfield. You know, different things that a coach and a quarterback talk about during the course of a football game. I just wanted to hit you guys with a real quick video talking a little Auburn football this morning here on Auburn Football Sports Talk with Kennard Vernon Stewart here on Vernon Speaks Sports Auburn, where it's always great to be an Auburn Tiger. Go ahead and like this video, comment, and subscribe to the channel. As always, War Eagle.